Ahoy there! Welcome to the village of Buckler's Hard on the Bewley River in Hampshire, where 7 artists preparing to embark on the good ship landscape. So who will push the boat out and who will go totally overboard? It's the semi-final of Landscape Artist of the Year.
Over the course of the summer, 48 exceptionally talented artists joined us in 6 heats.
Apart from not having 3 hands, it's going great.
Travelling up and down the country, capturing everything from bustling urban panoramas to ancient castles.
I don't like water, I'm not that keen on sky. What have you done to me?
I hope I've made Scotland proud. I've definitely done Scotland colourful.
Now only the heat winners and our wildcard winner remain.
Oh my God!
They're all hoping to win this year's coveted £10,000 prize, a commission for the Science Museum, creating an artwork that pays homage to the Orkney Islands and their key role in the sustainable energy revolution. But first, they must navigate the crowds at a packed-out semi-final to impress our 3 judges. Kathleen Soriano, Taishan Schierenberg, and Kate Bryan.
I'm trying to figure out the path. It's covered in people.
OK, well, I'll go clear some of the
Thanks.
stands for you.
I
So you
appreciate
can actually
that.
see the path.
So who will make it through and claim one of just 3 spots up for grabs in next week's final?
Ty looks great. I think he's my favourite. He's the nicest guy ever, right?
Well, OK, as there are only 2 blokes in this programme and I'm the other one, that's quite upsetting.
Competing in today's semi-final are the 6 artists who won their heats.
I like the boats.
You love the boats?
Yeah.
Former textile designer Denise Fisk from East Sussex. Tony Griffin, an electrician from Glasgow. And fitness instructor Deepa Goswami from East London.
I am kind of not looking forward to the pressure, but because it is very overwhelming, but it's a massive opportunity, so I can do it again.
How are you feeling?
Nerves are kicking in.
Yeah, now that you're like walking towards the pod, you can actually...
Now that they're in our sights.
Yeah.
Also joining us today, Canadian printmaker Christina Chan, Wesley Smith, a chef based in Brighton, and Monica Popham from Gibraltar, who works in marketing.
I'm excited to give it another go. I think I was really, really nervous last time, so I actually want to be a bit more in the moment and enjoy it a little bit more.
At each of the heats, we were also joined by 50 wildcard artists, offering up talent and surprise.
Serena, we're giving you a beautiful castle over here. Stunning, enigmatic. You've painted that cliff over there.
In the hope of securing a place in the 7th pod in today's semi-final.
You are wildcard winner! Congratulations!
You're our winner.
Congratulations, well done. I'm coming here, to this wonderful tree.
Your painting really sings, and your mark making's just gorgeous.
Out of 300 wildcards, the judges' overall favourite was Rebecca Patterson.
Hello. You are a wildcard winner.
For her nighttime depiction of Aberdeenshire's Dunnottar Castle.
Rebecca brought this wonderful sense of magic realism to Dunnottar Castle, and she's also got this fascinating way of working with materials. She gets lovely, deep, intense pools of colour. We want her to bring exactly that sensibility and to ramp it up because she's got some really good artists to beat.
To be in a pod is just incredible. At Dunnottar, I was on a picnic blanket on the floor, so it's a real step up. Today, it's a very different location and a very different subject matter. So I'm hoping to pull it all together.
Artists, welcome to Buckler's Hard. The clue's in the title. No one said it would be easy. You have 4 hours to complete your semi-final artworks, and your time starts now.
I might go for a wonder.
Today, the artists are on a hill, with a view which drops down between picturesque 18th century workers' cottages, once home to the shipbuilders of Nelson's naval fleet. At the bottom of the village, under a summer sky, the Beaulieu River winds through the trees of the New Forest.
I think Buckler's Hard is one of the strangest views we've ever given the artist. The water's really far away. The houses could seem almost like toy houses if you get that wrong. And although it is very tranquil today, this is the site of some enormous, powerful shipbuilding. We do want a sense of gravitas. We do want a sense of history. The artists have been encouraged to go down to the water because there's a lot of actually mathematical, precise, architectural understanding of the landscape they're going to have to get right. Yes, you've got to get the perspective right. Yes, you've got to tell us a convincing story of this landscape, but you still have to put your stamp on it. We want to see who they are in Buckler's Hard.
I definitely feel challenged. The boats are quite tricky. It's quite hard not to go into all the detail on the boats, so we'll see. I'll tackle that when I come to it. Good for the semi-final.
The view is very beautiful today, really picturesque, which is a worry because you don't want it to look too sweet. I have painted at the beach before, so I've painted the sea, but not the harbour and not buildings. So this is new to me.
As the artists settle in, they must first decide on size and format, and crucially, how much of this panoramic view to include.
Semi-final view today is amazing. You know, the run down to the water, you've got the horizon, the water going through, the river, you've got the houses either side. I think I'll try and put as much in as possible.
Tony Griffin is an electrician living in Glasgow and spends most of his spare time painting landscapes from a studio in his back garden. He won his heat with a painterly depiction of a cloudy Stonehaven harbour in Aberdeenshire.
Hello, Tony.
Hi, Ty.
A very complicated view.
It's quite tricky. I wasn't sure about this format either. It's what I'd done previously, but I was thinking about maybe just focusing on something else, maybe just the background and the trees. But the whole place lends itself to this colour box format.
There's this wide gravel path which takes up a lot of the centre of where most of the stuff of the painting usually is.
Yeah. Path, actually, I think it gives a sense of relief to all this stuff. You know, you've got to rest your eye at some point.
It sounds like you've got a way through this very complicated situation. Good luck today,
Here's hoping.
Tony.
OK, thank you.
With the houses stretching down the hill on either side, the artists are faced with a challenging sense of perspective. Whilst Tony is tackling them head-on, our second artist has come up with another solution.
The view is very picture perfect. I really like the water at the moment. I think that's really gonna break up all the greens. I've chosen a focus point rather than trying to cover all of it. But yeah, let's see.
Architect graduate and fitness instructor Deepa Goswami is currently saving to go to art school. Her paintings feature urban scenes near her home in East London. In her heat, she used passages of light and distinctive mark-making to perfectly capture the lake at Hever Castle.
Morning, Deepa.
Morning.
This is a very beautiful beginning.
Oh, thank you.
And I can see you've sort of jumped over the houses and gone straight to the water.
So I initially did want the cottages somewhere. I really enjoyed painting water, and so that's something I really wanted to get in. The boats, I'm not so sure about how I'm going to deal with that.
Yeah, I was about to ask, like, okay, you go for the water, but then you get a new problem, which is the boats. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really love where it's headed.
Thank you.
Sometimes bright sunshine can cause problems for our artists, creating shadows and colours that will change throughout the day. But for one artist, the light has inspired her to transport Buckler's Hard to somewhere in southern Europe.
A lot of my works do like orangey tones and red and warmth. So if I can bring that here, that'd be really good. I would say I'm a colourist, I suppose. Try and find more colour than I can see, if that makes sense.
As a native Gibraltarian, Monica Popham's landscapes often depict sunny Mediterranean architectural scenes. At the Heats, she produced one of her signature crops, using a limited palette and focusing in on the Port of Liverpool building.
How's it going, Monica?
OK.
What do you make of this view?
Well, when I saw the red buildings, I was very, very happy. And I wanted to challenge myself in finding more colours compared to the heat.
Right.
Definitely inspired by growing up in Gibraltar, where it's sunlight and the colours and stuff. So I'm going to try and bring that to Buckler's Hard today.
Have you got anyone here helping you?
Yeah, I've got Mum and Dad, and my sister flew from Gibraltar just for this.
Really? Luckily, it's not a dance competition where you get tapped on the shoulder after 2 minutes and told to you're out.
Yeah. Dad's spot at the pub later. So.
Oh, I see. Oh, well, then life is good.
With an hour gone, this tricky vista is keeping our artists on their toes.
I'm still trying to block in the piece. The perspective of the houses is weird because you've got everything going downhill, but some of the roofs look as if they're going up the way. If I don't get it right, then I'll be fighting against it the whole time.
Right now, I'm focusing on the greenery and the grass and trying to get that depth, which is proving trickier than I thought. I'm panicking a little bit for time at the moment.
I'm happy with it so far. So at the moment, the mark making is pretty loose, so I might start to go into a bit of detail now. There's a flow to it, but I also don't want to relax too much.
At Buckler's Hard in the New Forest, a crowd of enthusiastic Landscape Artist of the Year fans has started to gather, as 7 artists compete to secure one of 3 spots in this year's final. A key challenge for today's artists will be how to tackle the wide central gravel path leading down from the pods, and one has chosen to make this the focus of his composition.
Today I've got a bigger canvas and I'm gonna try to get more of this view in. I had to get the middle in, and then it was just a matter of how much of the buildings at the side I wanted to include. But they had to be on both sides, otherwise it would just be strange.
When Wesley Smith isn't working as a chef, he's painting scenes of his home city of Brighton. At his Heat in Liverpool, he produced a tightly cropped filmic depiction of a disused railway building.
Hi, Wesley.
Hiya.
You've taken on quite a bit.
Well, I tried to look at what would happen if I cropped it and zoom in, but I thought I've got to do it because it's all so well balanced. I'm liking that level of space in the foreground.
Ignoring the people?
Ty looks great with this blue jacket.
Please don't tell him that. He doesn't need any more. His ego is already off the scale, swanning around.
I think he's... I shouldn't say it. I think he's my favourite.
Is he your favourite?
He's the nicest guy ever, right?
Well, OK, as there are already 2 blokes in this programme,
I
I'm
said
the other
too
one.
much.
That's quite upsetting.
He's not as funny as you, but he's all right.
I'll take that.
I'm not sure whether that chat went well for me or not. Fortunately, it's time for our next artist, who seems to be sailing smoothly through her day at the semi-final.
I'm going to work within a really muted color palette. I think what I want to do is I want to keep it calm, because it's a very calm scene. It's also very historic, so I want to see if I can kind of set it back in time a bit.
Christina Chan is a Canadian printmaker living in London. Her large mixed media prints focus on themes of mythology and history. At the Heats, her plan to print on plein air was hampered by strong winds, so she relied on drawing and painting to produce an atmospheric representation of Dunnottar Castle.
So, Christina, I've just been watching you sort of lay your paper down on here and rub it very carefully. What is this?
This is my impromptu mono printing board, which is just a really fancy way of saying I've put some layers of ink on the board and then I've got the paper and I've kind of transferred it. So instead of using paint, I've used ink.
Why would you go to all this trouble with all these, you know, stages rather than just pick up a brush and paint it on?
I really love the textures. I think it really helps set things back in time. I am very interested in history in my practice, so I think the muted tones, the atmosphere, all of that goes towards this feeling of timelessness.
Yeah, great. A lot to do.
A lot to do, definitely.
So given that this is the 9th year that you've done landscape artist, and certain types of views pop up again and again.
Yes. Where are you going with
I've already
this?
spoken to one artist who's told me Ty doesn't like boats. So you've placed them in front of 2,500 boats.
It's the semi-final. What do you expect? I love the fact that we're at a site where boats that fought in the Battle of Trafalgar were made. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, it's steeped in history. But how do you get the sense of the place?
So if you were in a pod today, what would you focus on?
It's interesting. So I would be looking for a focal point. The eye would lead to the river, and there's stuff happening there, and the stuff happening is boating, I believe. I know.
I can see the front page of the papers now. Ty Shan-Schirenberg paints boat.
Yeah.
Our next artist isn't too bothered about the boats, but she's still determined not to produce a twee painting.
With the colour, I want to lift it up, so there's impact. That will avoid, hopefully, the sweetness of the view. It will still be me. I'm still a gentle nature, so it will still be sort of controlled brightness.
Denise Fisk is a retired textile designer and now spends her time painting from her home studio. At the Heats, she used her distinctive autumnal colour palette to produce a standout depiction of Hever Castle in Kent.
Denise, talk to me about your beautiful colour choices.
Thank you.
Starting with these sort of earthy tones, getting darker and darker.
I don't want it to be too pretty and sweet, so the strength of those colours, I'm hoping will just give it a little bit more gravity. And also, I want that sense of history here and the shipbuilding, hence the oak tree, you know, the nod to the oaks being used for the shipbuilding.
That oak tree did well to survive. Nelson took all the others.
Exactly.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing Buckler's Hard through your eyes.
Thank you very much.
While most of our artists are working on easels, with paints, over in the end pod, it looks a bit more like a science laboratory.
My style I would describe as organized chaos. It's very loose, free-flowing. The materials do have a mind of their own. They can go in places where I don't expect, so I need to work with them.
Rebecca Patterson is a mixed media artist from Aberdeen. And whilst her dramatic night scene of Dunnottar Castle was created sitting on the grass with the wildcards, it won her a place working in a pod, on an actual table, in today's semi-final.
Rebecca, your technique is so peculiar. I mean, how do you get that sky?
It's base of brusho,
What is brush show?
Brush show is like a watercolor pigment.
Okay.
So the colors are made up of lots of granules of different colors, and when you add them to water, they disperse.
So these are accidental colours that emerge?
That's right, yeah.
And the cling film's presumably to add texture and volume to it when you peel it away?
Yeah, what I do is I put down a wash of colour, and then I use the cling film over the top, and it settles.
Okay.
The pigments fall into the lines of the cling film. It just gives it a bit of texture, interest.
Well, it's looking stunning at the minute.
Thank you so much.
The artists are heading towards the halfway point in the competition.
My printing's got a lot better this time around. I've heard that there's a huge tidal change, so I'm a little bit worried the scene's going to completely transform. That will be interesting. I'll have to see how good my memory is. I feel all right so far. Or no panic set in. I think that usually happens around lunch.
I think for halfway, it's okay. It was getting the drawing and colour all over, so there's no white patches. Once, you've got past that, the nerves settle down a little bit, and I'm enjoying it now.
Now I'm trying to fill everything in as best I can. I'm putting the buildings on and really got the colour contrast now. It's going quite well. I'm having fun with it, yeah.
It's halfway through semi-final day at Buckler's Hard in Hampshire. And though for the audience the celebrations have clearly started already, for our 7 artists it's time for some strategic thinking.
The light's changing. In the morning there was a lovely shadow on this side here, and I'm stuck with that for compositional purposes and for perspective. It's very tempting to start dabbing in sunlight and shadows, so just got to hold your nerve.
I put up the boats on the river now, which I'm happy with because it's quite loose. I haven't gone for any detail, I've just gone for the patches of white that I'm seeing and letting that kind of suggest that there are boats rather than trying to paint a boat.
Christina, where are we? You got.
Where are we at?
Where are we at? Because you've got 2 white pencils, and so we're going light again.
I'm gonna work on the sky. There's been some really nice clouds opening up and creating some windows of light I'd like to capture while they're there.
I mean, I do get drawn into your landscape, and I love the fact that it is absolutely devoid of humans, in essence, as a historical document rather than a document of today.
I would like to keep it kind of timeless.
It's taking me back in time.
Brilliant.
At the halfway point of the competition, the judges head down to the river to discuss how the semi-finalists are doing.
French Riviera, the Hamptons, the Amalfi Coast? No. Look at it. This is the English Riviera, no? What more do you want?
Absolutely glorious. We've got boats, we've got water, we've got beautiful 18th century houses, history, artists.
Rebecca's given us a nighttime sky?
Yeah, Rebecca loves a nocturne. So when we saw her as a wild card, we've got a nighttime sky. It's very pungent, it's very foreboding. At the moment, for me, there's a bit of disconnect between what's happening in that kind of majestic sky and then what's happening in the foreground.
I mean, half of the painting is unresolved, or certainly unrevealed. It's still under the cling film. And it's difficult to know whether the balance is going to be correct between the 2 halves.
Tony calls himself one-trick pony Tony.
Well, he arrived with a different format canvas, and then he saw the excitement around the edges and realised he had to revert back to what he was good at and what we knew of his work.
I think Tony's really struggled with the perspective, but, he's an experienced painter. I think we can be confident that he'll find his way.
Denise is fighting prettiness. in her work. Is she winning?
I don't think Denise needs to fight prettiness. I love her colour choices. It is like a little musical notes that bounce you across the canvas. Her lightness of touch, for me, is part of the secret. And my worry for her would be that she worries away at too much of it.
I find her choice and her palette, I find it interesting. It often looks like blood stains to me. I mean, it's something eerie going on.
Yeah, you're right. I was looking at certain areas, it looks really like it's bruised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wesley's got this very big foreground.
Yeah.
With nothing in it.
He also made a very good decision about moving everything quite high up. The story is in the emptiness.
The drawing is, I just love his nervy touch, the way the line is sort of this jaggedly nervy line, and the colour, it really conjures up the place. It's just get on with it.
I don't think we've had an artist quite like Christina on this show before, have we? Something about the way her paintings appear.
She's an artist of great sophistication and confidence because she trusts this lovely thing that's happening between her brain, her eye, and her hand.
You look at it and you feel as if a light shower of rain and it would all disappear. But she has gone in with the pencil now, and I don't want her to start to get too detailed and too finicky in there. That's what I'm nervous about.
Monica's really getting involved with the colours.
I just looked at the view this morning and thought, Monica's going to have problems with this. Monica goes in, likes detail, likes shadow and light play, and she's gone for colour instead. And I love it. There's that rich brick colour and this very ominous landscape beyond it. The worry looking at her work is, will she now go into the buildings and give us every detail?
I am really nervous. I think she's got about 20 minutes and she has to stop.
When you walk along the 7 pods and you get to deeper, you suddenly go, oh, boats. Is that a good choice?
She knew from the beginning of the day that the boats were going in. And I braced myself. And I don't hate the boats, but I am nervous about how specific those boats are, how that will correspond to the rest of the picture, which is still quite undone.
I think she's good at balance. They'll settle once she gets everything right in the foreground.
Well, it's a crucial couple of hours ahead because there are 3 places in the final at stake and there's all to be played for. And I keep thinking someone's put the kettle on, but it's the whistling of the wind through the rigging, isn't it? It makes me want a cup of tea, though.
Such a liar. What you really want is a pint.
Yeah, that's true.
The picturesque village of Buckler's Hard is a time capsule of life back in the 18th century. It was designed by John Montague, owner of the nearby Bewley estate, who saw the potential of this area of hard standing on the corner of the river, which was ideal for landing large boats. In 1744, the first shipyard was established on the site.
This site of Buckler's Hard was primarily chosen for its timber because we're surrounded by many acres of fantastic oak trees. It would have been an incredibly busy industrial site. The biggest ships that were built here were about 170 foot, and they would have towered right over the height of the houses.
Between 1777 and 1804, the shipwrights of Buckler's Hard built 3 ships which sailed in the victorious British fleet at the Battle of Trafalgar. However, by the mid-19th century, new iron-built ships took over from those built from timber, and the once bustling village of Buckler's Hard became a small agricultural hamlet. Today, Buckler's Hard is first and foremost home to a handful of residents, but there are reminders of its proud history everywhere you look. Back in the pods, the artists are down to the final hour of the competition.
Denise, the end is in sight.
Yes, I really want to resolve the buildings. I'm building up the darkest tones of the foliage on this first building, so there'll be a lot of strong colours on the far right and then strong colours on the far left to balance it out with the oak tree.
You've really exaggerated that curve there.
I'm trying to give a sense of that we're high up and we're coming down.
Yeah, if you came home from a pub and missed your step, you'd roll all the way down that hill. It really is, it's vertiginous.
Wesley, it feels to me like you've got quite a lot to do over the course of the afternoon, or are you planning on getting a bigger brush and just sort of slabbing it in?
That's the plan, yeah. I'm still struggling to see it come together.
There's still a big bit of lawn and pathway that is missing.
There's a shadow coming across there that's quite nice. There's something I can work with there, I can do, so it's not just bare space.
Well, with so much to do, it would be wrong of me to carry on distracting you.
OK.
With the artists heading into the last stages of the competition, a mass of onlookers has gathered around the end pod.
Rebecca, word is rippled through the crowds. The peel-off is about to happen.
The big peel-off.
I don't want to be alarmist, but what could go wrong?
It could not be dry.
OK, well, cry out in pain if it's not working well.
OK.
Here we go.
Right. Success!
Yay!
Yay!
I can't take it.
So hopefully this will dry.
But it's not dry, is it? You haven't got very long.
I know.
We'll have a whip round, see if we can get your hair dry.
Fantastic.
Monica, I can see you're painting furiously. What are you prioritising?
I'm trying to figure out the path. It's covered in people and camping chairs at the moment.
Yeah,
so.
we have a huge audience today. And you don't want to paint them in, so you're kind of working your way around them.
Yeah.
OK, well, I'll go clear some of the
Thanks.
stands for you
I
so you
appreciate
can actually
that.
see the path. Fantastic, well done.
Thank you.
It's very busy today, and I did want to get people in, but it did not look good, so I kind of took that away. So, yeah, I might just leave it as that.
On the banks of the Beaulieu River in the New Forest, 7 artists are nearing the end of their 4-hour challenge, and it's time for them to call for backup.
How are you getting on, Mum?
OK, I think just need to resolve, I think, the houses more, and I haven't done the jetty quite yet.
It's so almost there.
Yes,
it literally needs no more than 15 minutes to just like do the final things. I am going to physically drag you to step back.
Thank you, that'd be very helpful.
I can't figure out where the path is going.
Yeah.
Should I go that way?
I think because it straightens out here. Yeah, that kink's quite good.
This one?
Yeah.
OK. Ah!
Amazing.
It's from my hotel room, so you have to give it back.
Okay.
Otherwise, they'll charge me for it.
No problem.
I forgot to bring a very small brush, so I thought I would use a bit of cardboard. I think on the whole, it's pretty close to finished.
I'm just going to be working on my final details. I think the trick is now not to overwork it. So we're going to stay calm.
Artists, you have 5 minutes left. 5 minutes.
I am just putting on finishing touches, I think. I could carry on. I haven't stepped away at all, so I need to turn around, just go around the block and then look at it again to be sure, but everything's there.
Artists, your time is up. Please put down your materials and step away from your easels.
relieved, but I'm also a little bit worried. It wasn't scary, I didn't get anxious. So that's the only thing, I'm kind of just overthinking it.
Oh, what a day.
I just need a long lie down and a pint.
Yeah, I know.
The halfway, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
As the artists take a break, it's time for the judges and our semi-final audience to take a look at the 7 finished pieces of work.
Well, a beautiful summer's day, glorious location, scores of people, and the art is a reflection of the choices you've made over the course of all the heats.
Some of them had easier days than others, but they've all found something here that appealed to them.
So Rebecca's process was dramatic and produced a dramatic painting.
I mean, there was moments where it felt a bit sort of DIY. It's playful, it's experimental, it's risky. I don't know necessarily if the path is that convincing, but I mean, she keeps giving us these knockout skies and, you know, I fall for them every time.
Well, I think Rebecca's created a really sort of ominous work. I mean, you could argue that she's almost taken us into the future. And I think the colours help to do that because they're so not of this earth.
Right, Tony, how did he get on?
I like Tony's painting. You definitely get a feeling of a slope down to the river. And of all of the artists, he's given us the actual width of the space in front of him. I think his need to be true to life was a bit of a rod for his own back. And so he never got to the point where he then steps away from what he's created and starts playing with rhythms in the painting.
So he's not got to the really interesting bit yet?
He hasn't got to the Tony bit yet.
Right.
I think the fact that Tony bit off so much today has actually produced quite an interesting style for him. There's an undone quality to this that I really love, particularly on the right-hand side with the houses. The only issue I have with it really is the left-hand side where I think the windows are over-delineated. So for me, I think he's done an absolutely terrific job, particularly to give us this panorama.
Denise has given something, I find this really charming.
I do think Denise has taken Bucklers Hard and us back. It's early morning. You know, the shipwrights haven't got out of bed to go down. You know, there's a huge galleon that will suddenly appear along the river. But she's done it with a 21st century palette and the lightness of touch in that oak tree on the left. I think Denise has put together a little gem, as we like to call it.
Denise is an incredible colorist in the sense of using the substance of paint very thinly or very thickly, opaquely, transparently. She wants this painting, when you take it away, yes, to refer to this place to a certain extent, but to stand on its own.
Wesley worked with such an intensity all day. I mean, he's going to sleep well tonight.
Wesley had a great day. I mean, he was really enjoying himself. He was having great fun, sort of layering on, looking for those empty spaces. I'm surprised the whole thing came together so well at the end, and I think part of it is to do with how little paint there is in the foreground section.
I think this is just why I love artists so much, because at lunchtime I just couldn't think what Wesley was going to do with the bottom half of the painting. And to look at literally the ground in front of him and animate it with this perfect shadow was just so genius.
Christina, she's produced a serene piece of art, hasn't she?
Yeah, it really is about feeling your way through the picture as a viewer, as she has as an artist. It looks like you're looking through a frosted glass or something. And I think it's the way she works. The image she has in her mind is far away from her. So this tentative way of feeling her way into the landscape actually matches a place as historical as Bucklers Hard.
I can't decide whether this is really classical or does it feel very contemporary. The language is so peculiar, and I love the way that she's reduced down the brick colour in the houses and given it a tonal quality that sits so nicely within the landscape. I think she's a conjurer, and I'm definitely under the spell of this picture.
Monica clearly is interested in colour.
Monica creates these paintings which are stylised, and often when you create a painting that's that stylised, it lacks any meaning. It can feel a bit flat. And this is just oozing with character. I mean, I love the treatment of the distant landscape and the way that their houses have got this real personality of their own here, like totally different colour palette, but really believable. And you do understand them as these 18th century cottages.
Here's an artist who knows what they're doing, but in a way that is about stylization, about simplification, and about making things work as solid blocks and patterns. You know, if you look very closely, they make no sense, really. But you know exactly what they're doing. The higgledy-pigglediness. So very evocative.
Now, knowing your relationship to boats in paintings, do we need a trigger warning for Deepa's painting?
Deepa has given us Buckler's Heart. You know, this is what I was experiencing today. This morning we had a very sort of romantic meander and beautiful touch on the colours. And with the addition of the boats, it's become a very good portrait of the day, really. I yearn for the early morning painting.
She was the only one, I think, who noticed that way over on the far side was this line of red grass almost, and that you can just about make it out along the back. And it sort of bounces also with the clay as the river sort of went out and you started to see some of the mud being revealed. So some really beautiful observations from Deepa.
There we have it. We have 7 artists. We need that reduced to 3, please, because there is a final waiting for the lucky 3.
I mean, I've got 4. I'm going to need to speak to you two to really get the 4 down to 3 and hope that we overlap.
I came in with 2, and I've changed those 2. And now I'm going to have to find another 1.
So I had 3 and now I've got 4, so that's not very helpful either.
And I would suggest you get your choice right so that the crowd don't turn ugly. Artists, to get to the semi-final of Landscape Artist of the Year is a huge achievement, and you've all done some fantastic work today. But as you know, only 3 of you can go through to the final. The first artist the judges have selected to compete in the final is Denise Fisk. The second artist is Christina Chan. And the third artist to reach the final is Monica Popham. To the rest of you, thank you so much. Congratulations on making it this far. Thank you for all your hard work. Cheers. Rebecca, it was lovely having you. Cheers.
For the first time, I'm speechless. Having made it through to the final, it feels really surreal. It's definitely a confidence boost. I think with each round, the competition just feels fiercer and fiercer. So, yeah, wrapping my head around that.
See you at the final.
Just ridiculous and amazing and really, really chuffed. It's brilliant. So I'm just enjoying the journey and for as long as it goes on for.
I'm honestly completely shocked. Completely shocked, yeah. I was just here having a good day painting and yeah, I never thought I'd get this far. I thought I was going to be a wild card, if anything. So this is, yeah, incredible.
It's interesting how a difficult location can help us get the best 3 artists.
Sometimes when it's harder, they've got to pull it out of the bag, and our top 3 really, really have. What I like about Monica, she's given me something I wasn't expecting, but somehow she's stayed in her little groove. So it makes me sort of salivate to think what she might do next.
Yeah, and actually, when you think about Christina, she always leaves us flying on the seat of our pants with her in this kind of experimental journey, which is kind of radical, and at the end process is very gentle. So there's a lovely paradox there.
And Denise, with her sort of dribbling and mark-making and sort of producing these ethereal landscapes that are absolutely timeless and evocative. But what is interesting about all 3 of them, I have no idea what they're going to do, but I want to see it.
If you'd like to find out more about how to enter the competition and the work of our featured artists, please visit our website, skyartsartistoftheyear.tv. Next time, the grand finale.
Some dramatic light would be nice. Right now, we have no light.
As Christina, Monica and Denise take on the evening skyline from the terrace of London's Royal Opera House.
The changing light, the final. I'm way behind schedule, so no stress.
So who will end on a high note
It'd be nice to have another 5 hours.
and be crowned this year's triumphant artist?
The winner of Landscape Artist of the Year is...